Hello and welcome to a artist read along with Mrs. White. Today I have a book about one of my favorite contemporary artists. Contemporary just means artists that are still working today. So this is one of my favorites. So I wanted to share her with you. Her name is Kusama Yayoi. She is from Japan, and this is a book about her called From Here to Infinity by Sarah Suzuki. Kusama Yayoi was born in the country of Japan on the island of Honshu in a town called Matsumoto City. An old palace made of wood and stone overlooked a moat where swans swam. The streets were lined with little shops, and snow-capped mountains rose in the distance, swallowing up the sun as it went down in the evening. Yayoi's family owned nurseries where all kinds of flowers and vegetables grew, and workers tended to the plants as they matured from seed to sprouts to stalks. But Yayoi yearned for a different life, far from the countryside. She dreamed about what lay beyond the mountains, in places far from Matsumoto City. She longed to leave home and see the world. Beautiful. Yayoi's mother wanted her to stay home and learn old-fashioned manners, how to dress elegantly, walk demurely, eat politely, and find a proper husband. But Yayoi wanted to be an artist. Every day she went outside with ink and brushes and paper. She drew things she saw and things she imagined. She looked closely at the pebbles that lined the riverbed and at the leaves and stalks of plants, and she drew them as chains of tiny cells that looked like dots. When she was older and studying in art school, her teachers disapproved of her work, and they demanded that Yayoi paint in the traditional, precise Japanese style. She wanted to go where she could live without rules. When she was 28 years old, she packed up her silk kimonos and thousands of drawings and stuffed dollar bills into the toes of her shoes. It was her first airplane trip. There were only 4 other passengers, and the weather was stormy with rain and lightning. The airplane wobbled and dipped as it flew to America. In New York, Yayoi went to the top of the Empire State Building, the tallest building in a city full of tall buildings. When she looked down, she saw buses and cars and yellow taxis zooming up and down the avenues, and bankers and teachers and artists rushing to work from up on the 86th floor. They looked like dots. She felt very far from quiet Matsumoto City and her mother's rules. Here, it seemed anything was possible. Gorgeous. Yayoi set about turning her drawings of dots into paintings. The dollar bills that she had brought to America quickly ran out, and she spent what little money she had left on paints and canvases. She worked day and night. She painted when she was cold, she painted when she was hungry, she painted when she was lonely, and she turned her dots into sculptures. 2, into soft stuffed tubes that covered sofas and chairs and boats. She was devoted to her dots. For her, they were a way of thinking about the world, among the stars, as one dot among millions of others. They were a way of thinking about infinity. You know what infinity means? It means going on forever and ever and ever. Sometimes when she grew frustrated, she visited the Museum of Modern Art. She gazed at paintings by other artists, and she thought about why and how they were made. She looked at pictures of dancing girls and swirling night skies, trying to solve them as if they were puzzles. My cat seems to like Yayoi as well. Her paintings seemed so different from those she had seen at MoMA. When she was at last ready to show her work in public, She invited all the friends she had made in New York. When she arrived at the gallery, a crowd was spilling out onto the sidewalk. Her friends lifted her into the air, shouting, "Yayoi, you've finally done it!" Word about her artwork spread quickly. Her friends told their friends, newspapers wrote about her work, and reporters clamored to interview her about her dots. Now she began to show them in other cities, all over the United States and Europe. Her dots were covering the world. They appeared in Venice in thousands of dot-shaped mirrors scattered over a big green lawn. I'd love to see that. And on a pumpkin, on a pier. On dresses and t-shirts, on people walking down the street. And in mirrored rooms where glowing dots were reflected and reflected again. An infinity of dots. Isn't that so cool? There she is. Having visited many countries all over the world, Yayoi returned to Japan. The country had changed since she left, with many different artists challenging the old traditional style, as Yayoi had been doing all along. You're the dog. You're the dog has spots. Dots. She still lives in Japan, and she continues to paint her dots every day. Here's one of her chairs. This is the infinity mirrored room, the souls of millions of light years away. I'd love to see that in person. This is her famous obliteration rooms. So what she would do is set up this installation in an art museum where everything in this room was all white. So the chairs are white, the sofas are white, the lamps are white, walls are white, and then she would have these dots. So any visitors that came to view her art got to put dots in her obliteration room. So pretty soon it went from plain white to being filled with dots created by all the people that came to be part of the art. Isn't that cool? Interactive art at its best. So I'm going to extend a challenge to you. Dots were Yayoi's thing. They could be your thing too. You can be inspired by her and make some sort of drawing using dots. Or you can think, is there a shape that kind of speaks to you? If I were thinking, I would say swirls. I really like swirls. So I think I'm going to try to draw something using all shapes of swirls. Different sizes, different colors, different patterns with my swirls, and I'm gonna see what I create. I will post it on my website. You think about what kind of shape you are drawn to. Is it dots? Is it swirls? Is it triangles? Is it squares? Is it splotches? It could be anything. It could be flowers. We could go on for days. So think about what kind of shape speaks to you, or you can be inspired by, and create some sort of picture with it. Let's see what you got. Can't wait to see what you create. Have a great day.